The transfer portal ablaze. You can see the smoke for miles and miles. Malik Murphy, the backup quarterback there at Texas, entered the portal, I think, yesterday. Crazy. Another casualty of the college football calendar because we are a sport that is void of centralized leadership, and therefore we are a sport which has free agency in the middle of its playoff, in the middle of its draft. It's all happening at the same time. Just brilliance by the adults in the room here. And so because of the adults' inability to properly structure a calendar, the kids who want to stay on their team as long as they can have no choice but to go in the portal. And so that's what Malik Murphy did. Dude started a couple of games for Texas this year in Quinn Ewers' absence, and now he's in the portal. And Texas now is one thumb injury away from Arch Manning playing against Washington in the middle of the second quarter in the Sugar Bowl. So that's where we are right now. Now, what's fascinating with Malik Murphy is I'm listening to Tom Loy earlier today on the 24/7 Sports Transfer Portal show, because I'm just kind of pulling names out of thin air. Hey, where do I think Malik Murphy could end up? And I'm thinking usual suspect destinations, right? And Loy mentions Duke as his favorite and mentions Baylor. And I had Jesse rewind it and play it for me again. Did he just say what I think he said? Duke and Baylor. There's a pre-existing relationship between Manny Diaz and Malik Murphy, and then Baylor's right down the road, and a lot of programs are in need of this caliber quarterback, Baylor included. Hey, either one of those would excite me because those aren't the usual suspects, and that would be really interesting as a way to distribute the quarterback talent more evenly around the country. Keeping an eye on that. South Carolina's making big moves right now. Rocket Sanders, we talked to you about him out of Arkansas. As soon as he jumped in the portal, Rocket Sanders, when healthy, all SEC caliber guy, and South Carolina landed him. Shane Beamer and company, they've been very active. They've been active in the portal. They've been active on social. Shane Beamer is a lot like me in that he lets you know when he's done something good. I can't disagree with the approach because everyone lets you know when you screw up, so why don't you let them know when you do something good? They badly needed this. They were 129th this past season in rush yards per game. And like I said, when healthy, Rocket Sanders is an all-SEC caliber guy, but they also got Oscar Attaway, who probably is going to come to Columbia with less acclaim, but they love him because they think with Sanders and Attaway, they filled out their running back room, and that's a three-star kid from North Texas, very complimentary styles, and it was so imperative that they land at least one, if not preferably two. So they did that, so salute to the folks in Columbia. While everyone else was just on message boards complaining, they went out and did something about it. Marvin Jones at Georgia hopped in the portal. That is not breaking news, but here on my Post-it on this index finger, I've got breaking news in a second. So Marvin Jones, yet another former five-star out of that class in 2022. There's a lot of smoke around FSU right now, and that would be my betting favorite for him. But that's not the breaking news. The breaking news, again, as indicated on this Post-it, we'll do a Post-it pop. On this Post-it note here is Jamin Dumas-Johnson is also in the portal. And this just happened within the past hour or so. Matt Zenitz reporting, you're going to hear that phrase a lot in transfer portal season for years to come. Matt Zenitz here, our very own, is reporting that Dumas-Johnson's in the portal. I mean, that's a starter now. He was all SEC preseason linebacker for Georgia. They've got depth there. This is not something that is totally gutting for Georgia. It hurts depth. They've got frontline guys behind him. That's not where this hurts. It hurts if anything happens to those frontline guys. And I'm just continuing to look up the road, or I guess down the road from where we're situated. That's either 15 or 16 kids who have entered the portal now from Georgia since the end of the season. And I know, well, trust me, I look at my eye, Josh, and I see texts from back home. I know there's a little bit of a mild to moderate freak out down there. Let me tell you how big the doomsday scenario is for Georgia. They're about to land the number one class in the country, guys. And I have a sneaking suspicion, and Kirby has not returned my call on this yet. If he does, I'll answer it on the air. But I have a sneaking suspicion they'll probably end up landing some kids out of the portal too. So I'm not trying to write this off as a nothing issue or a nothing burger, which is the most overused phrase in politics and sports. However, I don't quite think it is the doomsday scenario that some the younger amongst us are making it out to be. R.J. Oben to, I wrote this down wrong, Jesse. I caught myself. I'm so happy about this. So I almost sent this kid to the wrong place. So R.J. from Duke, right, Jesse? From Duke to Notre Dame instead of transferring to Duke. You have no idea. There's like one time per show I slip up. For example, the other night, not only did I mispronounce Raiola's name, because it's Raiola, but I said Dylan Raiola's dad coaches at Nebraska. Well, his uncle coaches at Nebraska. I know that. Therefore, I shouldn't have said it, but sometimes it slips. It's live, right? And then the comment section is filled with people who do nothing but watch the show and they fact check, which is okay. Okay, we need watchdogs just like everyone else. This thing would have been like catnip for the watchdogs or watch cats, as it were. But R.J. Oben is transferring to Notre Dame from Duke. He's an edge player, 6'4", 260, had 17 tackles, 6 of them for loss, 5 sacks this past year. They have needs at Notre Dame all along the defensive line. You know what stands out to me about this is think about how crazy it is when the transfer portal first got presented, when the transfer portal was first invented as a concept that we know it as today. You thought to yourself, well, there'll be some schools out there that just live off this thing. And then there'll be other schools that have to be way more selective because they just can't afford to traffic in the same approaches that other schools do. Academic standards are higher, blah, blah, blah. Notre Dame is killing it in the portal, and Clemson has barely touched the thing. I wouldn't have believed that 6 or 7 years ago if you would have introduced this concept to me. Notre Dame is number 2 right now in the 24/7 Sports team transfer portal rankings. Kentucky is also making a move because they're at 5 commits right now, and they have added Mr. Macklin, and that's a kid that we talked about. Jamori Macklin is a receiver out of North Texas, and he's transferred to Kentucky. That's another offensive skill position guy that Mark Stoops has added. He got the quarterback in, last year. So first I want to talk to you about last year. Last year he goes and gets Devin Leary. And kind of worked out, whatever. But also went and got Ray Davis. Ray Davis was a big addition. And so this year they've addressed quarterback with Vandergrift. They've addressed running back. They've addressed wide receiver now. And they continue to do so. And it could just be that this is the approach they choose to take. It's too early to know what the trends are. But it could be an approach they choose to take. That's a 1,000-yard wide receiver out of North Texas. In 2023, he had 17 yards per catch. In 2022, 24 yards per catch. 5'11", about 180, 185, pretty explosive. And so we're going to try it again. We're going to roll the old portal dice out there again. We'll see what comes up this time for Kentucky. Just some quick notes here. Grayson McCall, about 19 or 20 years into his career at Coastal Carolina, headed to NC State. M.J. Morris, headed to Maryland. Aiden Childs, we told you the other day, the Oregon State true freshman 4-star quarterback we thought would probably follow his head coach to Michigan State. He has done that. So Aiden Childs is headed to Michigan State. Big pickups. Things on fire right now. Like the portal is loaded. This is not slowing down. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept it for now. We'll see if we get some guardrails on this thing in the very near future.